Welcome everyone to the Shadow and the Blade showdown between the Tomb Kings, who shall be led by Ark in the Black with his slick new portrait. And it looks like today, guys, we're going to be facing off against the Skaven, who shall be led by the dreaded Master Assassin, inspiring a feeling of looming dread in all of my bony forces. So yes, it's going to be Tomb Kings versus Rats, and as far as my build goes, this is actually my tournament build against Skaven. So we wanted to test out some new stuff, really test the metal, see how efficient it would be. So I brought my very competitive Tomb Kings build, in my opinion. Granted, it's one of those builds that if your opponents see it coming and they kind of know that's your thing, they can counter it. But if they don't, it's very, very good against Skaven. Basically, it's double Bone Giant, Eyes of the Desert in the back to protect those guys, Ark in the Black to drop some 6 summons, Tomb Scorpion, Ushapti to just peel things, Skeleton Warriors, and 2 groups of Nehekara Horsemen for battlefield control and backline pressure. Now for the forces of Dob, let's go and take a look. So he does, of course, have a Master Assassin, and I think his whole line of thought he was mentioning after the game was to use the Looming Dread here to give my troops negative missile resist. So he puts this on my constructs, my lords, snipes them with Warp Lightning Cannons, Jezzails, and you have some really, really nasty stuff. So pretty cool combo there. So that is the Master Assassin. Pretty good melee, not as good as the Deathmaster, but more of a well-rounded character in that he does have ranged attacks. So for the rest of this ratty force, it's going to be Skaven Slaves. It looks like 2 groups of Warplock Jezzails, including the Natty Bubo Sharpshooters, Teethbreakers, Rattling Gunners, so a lot of firepower for sure, and a little bit more confident against the Chariot play, because normally when I play Skaven players, they're in a very defensive posture against Tomb Kings because of the risk of Chariots and Mass Horsemen and things like that. But I feel like with the advent and inclusion of Warp Grinders, maybe he was a little bit more comfortable because he has AoE snares, he can lock down my cav and defend himself a little bit better. In the back, he does have the Warp Lightning Cannon, a Plague Priest as well, and it looks like some Doom Flayers just to kind of run over infantry and give him some mass. So let's get the show on the road, guys, and see what the Master Assassin can do. So it looks like he's going to be running in here. Concealment bombs are active, so I still can't see him, even when he's this close. And it looks like the Jezzails are opening up on some skeletons. And there you go. So Looming Dread is active on Ark in the Black, so clearly Dob does have the intent here to go after Ark in the Black. It does lower his speed by almost 50% as well. And you can see it's a super long ability. Like, it lasts forever. Like, look at this freaking duration here. It's still, like, not even a quarter of the way done. So now he's going to be getting some sniping on Arkin from the Jezzail. So I do see that effect going down, so I'm going to be falling back in the Bone Giants. Going to be opening up shot, shooting downtown, going after the Warp Lightning Cannon. Warp Lightning Cannon's, of course, very nasty against my Bone Giants, so I'm like, all right, let's get rid of that. And I like that he's using the Warp Grinders to defend this. It's pretty neat. It definitely shuts down some of my Horsemen play. So the Bone Giant's going to be focusing the Warp Lightning Cannons. Aside from that, a bit of a wild kind of skirmishing battle. Over here, my Horsemen around the flanks are trying to pressure. And I thought about going into the Warp Grinders, seeing if I could really just melt those guys, but I don't know. We'll see what happens a little bit later here in the battle. So far, Bone Giant shooting in, just being very conservative with the rest of my troops. Ark in the Black just got popped in the face, so, I mean, really good stuff from Dob. I mean, his Master Assassin play alone has kept Ark in the Black in the shadows. Like, I can't even use my Lord right now. I just have to hide and hope I can, do other things without my Lord. So the Boner Giant shooting in here, doing some okay work against the Lightning Cannons, able to take out 1 model so far. My Nehekara Horsemen on the other side are going to be going in after the Warp Grinders. So I don't know if he gets it off on time. It looks like he kind of does, the Seismic Snare, and then there's probably going to be the AoE damage as well. So I just wanted to see if they could take down those Warp Grinders and if it was cost effective. But he does lock me in place at the very least. And it looks like they're actually drilling as well. So they're doing damage in conjunction with locking me in place, which is pretty neat. My other Horsemen is pretty much a blitzkrieg here into the back line, going after the Rattling Gunners and just surging into the Teethbreakers, very aggressively just bam clicking, trying to shut those guys down, while the Bone Giants still just continue to miss against this Warp Lightning Cannon. So I don't know if something changed in this patch, maybe not quite as accurate, but still going after those targets. My Bone Giants are taking some work. Ark in the Black basically hiding behind the slip here. He can't really go out into the open field safely. And now we've kind of, pinned in the Skaven forces a little bit. Our Nehekara Horsemen plus our Carrion in the front have forced the Rattling Gunners into the center, where some Skeleton Warriors are actually able to jump on those Warplock Jezzails. Now, the Natty Bubos are still shooting quite happily. So realizing there's only 1 Warp Lightning Cannon left, we're going to be getting our double Bone Giants and shooting at the Natty Bubos or the Plague Priest here in a second. So Nehekara Horsemen are able to get away, but the Warp Grinders took like no damage, and they actually really wrecked my Horsemen. So a really cool showcase of what the Warp Grinders can do for shutting down like cav play and things like that were pretty obnoxious for Skaven to deal with in many circumstances. So the Master Assassin right here looks like he's kind of lurking, waiting for Ark in the Black to come back, maybe looking to put Looming Dread on me once again. And here in the center, my pressure tools, so like my Skeletons and my Carrion and other troops like that, have kind of been destroyed, unfortunately. The Rattling Gunners are just going ham into the freaking Ushapti here. So the Ushapti taking a bit of work. Probably going to need to fall back with those guys because this is a pretty bad situation. Now, there's only 1 Warp Lightning Cannon left. I probably should have finished it, but I figured that switching targets onto the Plague Priest would be a little bit better. So here you can see our Tomb Scorpion, who was in deep reserve now, is going to be switching onto the Plague Priest, and we've done some pretty good damage as these Skeleton Warriors are going to be surging forward, buffed by the Liber Mortis. But guys, this Master Assassin getting a little bit crazy here. I think he sees blood in the water with Ark in the Black, but little does he know the Eyes of of the Desert lurk in the back, and they come out of stock, and now we're going to get the double Bone Giants plus the Eyes of the Desert. We're going to start shooting this rat right in its ugly dome piece. So in the back here, you can see the Warp Lightning Cannon still just on one model. Warplock Jezzails have kind of stabilized, but a lot of the Skaven guns are very beat up, but it looks like Dov is doing a good job getting a couple of them back online. Still, a lot of Rattling Gunners are going to be opening up, but here, it is time to pay the Troll Toll. Spirit Leech going down from Ark in the Black. The Bone Giants coming in. Oh man, this rat is having some issues for sure. It looks like he's like kind of stutter stepping there, not really sure what's going on. Oh, he's throwing his Ninja Stars. Okay, so I think it was something with his attack animation, but yeah, you can see the Eyes of the Desert spitting their poison projectiles in his face, going to slow him down, and the Bone Giants looking to delete this rat, so this is like the perfect moment. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk to you again. Oh my god, he got deleted! That rat got Shadow Realmed! I didn't even see where he went! I mean, that's very... Oh my god, that was so good! I think that was one of the best clips we've had in quite some time of just some Skaven just being obliterated. Now, despite the fact that the Skaven are leaderless at this point, they're still in okay shape. Some of the horsemen are able to get back here and thankfully jump on top of these Rattling Gunners, which were just going ham on my Ushabti here, so that was pretty good. But Dov has done a really good job this game, getting his Warp Grinders in position everywhere. So the Warp Grinder is going to be surging in and dropping some sweet seismic snares right here, I would imagine. And probably slowing these guys down and allowing his Rattling Gunners to get away. So now we're going to be focusing Plague Priest. Really nice stuff here. The Seismic Snare locking my guys down. But what's even cooler is it seems that they can do the Seismic Snare, but some of them still like drill while that snare is active. So they lock things in place and they also do decent AP damage, which against Tomb Kings, I think you're going to be seeing a ton of Warp Grinders. I think they're going to be a very, very common, powerful choice. Now in the back here, you can see that these Doom Flayers are going to be running away and just looking to kind of roll away there to the best of their abilities. Here you can see the Plague Priest is coming in, but we have the double Bone Giants who are almost out of ammo at this point, actually, but we're trying to finish off this Plague Priest. Eyes of the Desert have just been super solid MVPs this game, but guys, despite the fact that the Bounce of Power, or we killed his Lord, the Bounce Power is actually still pretty decent for the Skaven. They have a lot of stuff in the battlefield. They still have Teethbreakers, they have a couple of Jezzails coming back in, so we really need to start finishing off some stuff, or we're going to be in big trouble. So Eyes of the Desert, not wanting to overchase here, are going to be using their breath attacks, I believe. Yeah, I can't quite remember, or maybe we go into melee combat to try and catch that guy. 47 speed against my 50, so I should be able to eventually catch him with those guys. So I really just need to finish off the Jezzails and the armor-piercing options. So here, we use our Ushabti summon here, and we go after the Teethbreakers, going to be chasing off Rattling Gunners, and then going after these guys. And the Bone Giant's going to be using what's left of their ammunition to try and take out the Natty Bubo Sharpshooter. So we do have side of because we have Eyes of the Desert, we have other troops over here that are relatively close, so we can't see those guys. And the Bone Giants are able to deliver the Bone Toll. So Ark in the Black has basically just had to hide in the back this entire game. The Jezzails and the Warp Lightning Cannons plus the Master Assassin with the Illuming Dread were able to do some really, really good bursts, and I certainly think there's going to be some decent potential with some of those new units. So here come the Eyes of the Desert, just chasing down the Sharpshooters, but, you know, Dov, like I said, even though a lot of his stuff is broken, he still has Teethbreakers, he still has Rattling Gunners, he still has Warplock Jezzails, so he's going to be turning here, and I'm sure unleashing a hellish salvo into my guys as they approach. It looks like we're able to break them. They do cause fear, and of course these guys are very beat up, and they've broken multiple times over the course of the battle, so here comes the Rattling Gunners doing a ton of damage. They only have 15 of their 24 models, and my Ushabti summon, right before it goes, is able to actually finish off the Warp Lightning Cannons, but not before the Eyes of the Desert are able to get those guys. But what's really obnoxious is the Teethbreakers, these other shooting units, keep coming back, and probably going to be able to get enough crossfire to finish off the Eyes of the Desert. Now the Skaven are surging forward, the Warp Grinders getting into melee combat. Looks like there's going to be a Warp Quake going down, which does do pretty steady damage here against my infantry. You can see these Skeleton Spearmen are taking some nice damage. It doesn't do as much against like single entities and things like that, but still not bad. So Ark in the Black finally getting back into the mix. Going to be dropping a fat Spirit Leech right there on top of that Doom Player, trying to get rid of his mass units that can kind of hold my constructs up. And I'd be interested to test the DPS of like Warp Grinders against constructs. I feel like that would be relatively interesting to kind of see the output on those guys. So again, another Seismic Snare. My troops are locked in place once again, and I don't know if he has the Warp Quake active, but definitely finishing off my Skeleton Spearmen. And Arkin is going to be staying a million miles away from that situation because it's definitely not a friendly place for Ark in the Black. Eyes of the Desert, just being eyes in the desert here. Going to be charging about, trying to get on Warplock Jezzails, but again, the suppressing fire coming in from these Rattling Gunners, of course, has a slowing effect, so they're basically moving at like snail's pace here, like the speed of heavy infantry, and they're just getting taken apart by these Skaven troops. So they're going to get shot down, and it looks like he might actually have the Warp Lightning Cannon coming back online, which is not good for me, as he's going to be able to finish off these skeletons, and that Warp Lightning Cannon is going to be jumping back there, and not a good situation. Oh boy. So over here, we are able to break off the Skaven. Warp Grinders being chased in all directions, and now Ark in the Black can pretty much just ride things down and try and recharge his staff there. Bone Giant's going to be coming in with that Mike Tyson right hook, I would imagine. Yeah, he's going for the big slobber knocker, the Undertaker uppercut, getting a nice punch right there on those Clan Rats as they do get forced back and terror routed. And yeah, we just have to advance here, but the Skaven do have some firepower left. They have the Teeth Breakers, my Eyes of the Desert are completely gone, and I have a very slow force. The Bone Giants, of course, quite a thing to deal with. They have a ton of HP, 9,000 plus. Warp Lightning Cannon's coming back online. He does have the Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers here, but since Arkin pretty much did nothing all game and had to hide, I had enough Winds of Magic for a Faded Buna at this point. So we're going to be using that. Probably overkill to kill a group of, like, basically just, you know, clan rats, but yeah, nonetheless, we need to take those guys out because they're still not a pushover of a unit. So the Bone Giant's going to be coming in a little bit ponderous here as those guys do move forward. You could see here we do have the Tomb Scorpion surging in as well. And Arkin the Black is, you know, Dov actually at this point was manual firing the Warp Lightning Cannon. So he was like in the Warp Lightning Cannon, shooting, trying to get Arkin. Here comes a manual shot. Let's see if we can catch it here. I was like trying to juke it. Oh, and it just barely misses. And that was a manual fire. Because again, he was having trouble like shooting it while, you know, I had it surrounded. But it's pretty cool to see someone whip that out in a game. Like you almost never see that. So Arkin's just going to keep going in circles, trying to break off this damn Warp Lightning Cannon, just buying time for a Bone Giant, and from here we get a Skeleton Summon, and we're able to target that down. So very well played. It was a really cool showcase of how good those Warp Grinders are. Getting the snares, the seismic damage to deal with skeletons. So if like there's like a mass chariot build or something like that, and you're able to catch them in, it's going to force your opponents to micro a lot more, basically, right? They have to spread out, they have to make sure that they don't get snared, because those things are going to be quite good. This build might have been in a little bit of trouble against like a Mass Nehekar Horseman Chariot build. I don't know if it would have had enough even with the Warp Grinders, considering it doesn't have Rat Ogres. But I think like we're just experimenting with new builds for the records, guys. But maybe if you like want to keep the gun line like this, just cut one Rattling Gunner, cut the Doom Flare, and like maybe cut like the Vulcan Sail Slashers, and then bring like 3 Rat Ogres. And suddenly I think you have a pretty nasty build for sure. Like not bad at all. Master Assassin with Looming Dread. He did get evaporated and basically sent to the Age of Sigmar, but you know, he still did good. He was able to get that freaking seismic or the Looming Dread and do okay against Arkin the Black, which pretty much forced my Lord back for most of the game. So very solid stuff. So make sure to check out Jaw Plays over on YouTube, guys. There's going to be a lot of games against him because it is early access and he's a very, very solid player. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.